Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Ladera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. To Michelle Malcolm. As always, it's a tremendous pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Thursday and making GPS a part of your afternoon. So I'm sort of splitting the show into two today because I want to talk about the national address by the Prime Minister night before last. Didn't tackle it yesterday because yesterday was a Wellness Wednesday. And, you know, we always deal with wellness issues. But for the first half of the show today, we have to talk about the press conference that was held by the Department of Labor and Immigration yesterday. Some startling things were unveiled at that press conference. And Shelley Lewis has joined me here at the desk. And we're going to talk about that for the first half of the show. And then Shelley has to go take care of her stuff while I switch gears. But at the outset, let me say that we are not on air here in New Providence. There's been some kind of technical issue here in New Providence. I understand we are on air in Grand Bahama, and we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you are watching us via YouTube or Facebook, please like and share the show. Let everybody know that we're on air. And even if they can't hear us on radio here in New Providence, they can always watch us on Facebook or YouTube and listen to the various apps where you can hear us. But we're definitely on air in Grand Bahama. So welcome to our Grand Bahama audience. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get back on air here in New Providence as quickly as possible. I'm not sure the cause of the outage, but we are aware that we are off air on radio here in New Providence, and I know that they're working to try to get us back on. So there was this big press conference held yesterday by the Department of Labor and Ministry of Labor and Immigration. Keith Bell, the minister with responsibility for both immigration and labor, sat with immigration department officials to talk about their latest exercise on the island of Abaco. And Shelley attended that press conference. And I have to tell you, just watching the report from what was said there, I was like, what in the world is going on in this little country? Just to set the stage for what Shelley's going to share with you. When it first came to our attention that this new shanty town was going up in the farm in Abaco, there were at the time about 5 acres that were being occupied. The minister revealed yesterday that that has increased to, it was 50 acres.
It was 50 acres.
50 acres that were being occupied.
And it is increased
And-
over 200
over 200 acres now. Over 200 acres now
of government crown land.
of government ground land. Houses popping up like weed. No building permits. No procedures that we Bahamians have to go through to build. But like weed, these houses are popping up. This now, I understand, is a bigger shanty town than what the Pigeon and the Mud were combined.
Almost 4 times the size.
Almost 4 times the size. And all of a sudden now, and I can say some harsh things today,
Both of us.
because when people like Kai Mills and others were on the island of Abaco sounding the alarm, you all ignored him. Turn your head the other way. Pretended you didn't see what was going on. Now all of a sudden this is getting national attention. All of a sudden now you want spring into action. And I do this because even the action which you spring into is a little suspect
It is.
by some of the things I heard at that press conference. So it's no surprise when people say, y'all ain't serious. And I can be using plenty of Bahamian vernacular today. I ain't trying to speak the Queen English or the King English now that Lizzie gone. I'm not trying to be politically correct today.
No,
I ain't speaking no proper English.
We getting to the point.
We going straight to the bone.
Mhm. It's interesting.
What kind of madness is going on? So first, let me let you jump in, Shelley. Tell us about the highlights from what you saw when you sat on it.
I am still in shock because, the minister, I looked at him and I said, make this make sense.
Mm-hmm.
How did all of this come to be? Because when they did a video presentation of what is happening on Abaco, and to say that it was 50 acres, and this is after Hurricane Dorian, which should have been no acres at all, because the government should have been monitoring what was going on in Abaco.
You would think.
You would think. And if it started out as 50 acres in a new area, this is not the Pigeon or the Mud.
Nope.
This is Farmers Key.
The farm.
And
the farm.
farm out, and then out of the highway out of Marsh Harbor.
Mhm.
These are new shanty towns,
Mhm.
extending all the way going up to Treasure Key. And if the government agencies that are on Abaco were there, and you tell me over 200, and I'm being told by persons on Abaco that is more than what immigration is saying, and you saying we're going to get down, we're not going to be
Politically correct. No, we
incorrect.
talking real talk today.
I'm being told that it's more than 200 acres of land that has been developed as the new shantytown. And when we looked at that, what was jaw dropping was like the houses are built roof to roof. It's
Mhm.
like you can't tell me that I can build my house, next to my neighbor. There has to be a distance in between the boundaries of each house.
Mhm.
But none of this exists. If you look at that video, none of that exists. There is no proper organized, regulated infrastructure on Abaco in those shanty towns. Number one, there's no light, no electricity. Some are using generators. There's no plumbing system.
Well, I suppose in short time they're gonna have a major or two generator that's under the ground, because that's how it was in the
Well,
mud.
there's some serious things underground apart from generators.
Yeah, we can talk about all of that.
And the thing is, there's no plumbing system. We express concern about the impact it will have on the health system and the environment. How is it that government can allow 200 acres of land that belongs to the Bahamian people? to
You
be
sure
de-
that ain't private land, Shelley?
We ask.
And they say it's ground land.
They said it's crown land.
And that come with them out.
That came out of their mouth.
Wow.
Mind you, some of it might be private, but the bulk of it is crown land.
Go ahead.
And 200 acres. And Michelle, you should see these houses. It looks like a subdivision, but they said they're shanty towns.
And from what I understand, in addition to the 200 acres were already there, occupied, all you could see is all kind of foundation for more.
Foundations for more. foundations more. And who is saying, you can put an injunction on the demolition of shanty towns, but you can say, oh, we're going to put more officers on the island for the construction of illegal, unregulated housing.
Well, I thought the court order said that there couldn't be
No
any new
new
structures.
structure.
Right. Didn't
And-
the court
and-
order
and
say that?
It did, because the injunction said that cease and desist the demolition of all
Existing.
existing.
But there couldn't be any
but
new.
there could be no new. But it's like everybody's eyes are closed to this situation because, Michelle, we ask, how many houses do you estimate have been constructed in this new shantytown? They couldn't say. The only thing they said, hundreds. We talking about hundreds of houses. And what bothered me is that people like us, I have to pay. I did an addition to my house, and Ministry of Works and BPL, and they all tell you have to pay for certain things. You can't get approval or permit to turn on electricity in your structure. You have to have approvals for plumbing and all of that.
When was the last time you saw somebody residing in one of these shanty towns go before the courts for building without a permit?
Well, not recently.
Has it
I
ever
don't
happened?
recall- No.
I never hear about it.
Never. They take them before the courts, and during that press conference, the minister did indicate, the director did indicate that there are a number of persons that are will be appearing before the court. And you know what I find most startling was that video, and what they're saying is it expanded from 50 acres to 200 acres, and I'm being told it's almost twice that amount. And like you said, no one has gone before the court, and they were only able to arrest 52 persons, and you have a whole 200 plus acres of illegal land.
Mhm.
Shouldn't more persons be
More-
held?
More than 50 houses, obviously.
Exactly. Shouldn't more persons be
Well,
held?
here's the excuse that's been offered. Well, some of them are Bahamians, and some of them have the legal right to be here because they
Yeah.
are work permit holders or they have spousal permits.
Mhm.
So not everybody there is an illegal immigrant. So some of these people who build in these houses have a right to be in the Bahamas or are Bahamians. I'm sure that's the excuse as to why this, why the number of houses doesn't match it doesn't
Yeah,
correlate
but-
with the number of people that were arrested.
But Michelle, does it make it right?
Of course not.
Does it make it right to just go up? And what if everybody in this country, what if all of us decide that we don't need government approval? We don't need to do this. We don't need to abide by that. We just go and do what we have to do.
Well, here's one of the things, and I'm trying to pull up my laptop now so that I can play a news clipping from the press conference. But here's one of the things that was said that disturbed me when I listened to it. Somebody at that press conference said something to the degree that, well, you just can't go house to house. That's not how it's done. Because I remember in past shows, I
Mhm.
would have said, well, listen, man, if I killed somebody, my house ain't no asylum for me.
No,
You can come there with a warrant.
exactly. And they had
Even though
warrants.
innocent people might be living in that house,
Exactly.
you can come there with a warrant because you suspect that somebody in that
Somebody-
house
exactly.
broke a law.
And they can act on suspicion.
Okay, so how come all of a sudden this don't
Yes,
apply
it-
to them?
And they're treating with dignity. We must bear in mind the dignity of
I ain't
these
got no problem
illegal-
treating people with dignity.
Yeah.
Human beings are human beings. So I agree with treating them with dignity, but that don't mean you can't carry out the law.
Exactly.
You can't enforce the law.
And the thing is, this was a joint operation between the police, the defense force, and immigration. And they were armed with warrants.
Okay, another thing that disturbed me, what I heard, and I really wish my laptop would hurry up and come up because it was up and then it went down again. So now I'm waiting for it to come back up. Another thing that I heard that disturbed me, which is all the more reason why you need to get some warrants and go in every single house in that shanty
Mhm.
town, no matter who you suspect live in there. Because they were talking about trap doors
Exactly.
where people were hiding
Hiding
these illegal
cupboards
immigrants and they
on
found in
vessels.
trap doors underground trap.
And you should see these vessels. These are no little fishing boats. These are vessels. And you would be surprised to know who's involved and at what level. And I suggested to the minister during that press conference, I said, there are persons at high level involved in this. And you know, I have no fear of saying that, because based on investigation that we have been doing, there are persons at top level involved in this immigration problem.
Mhm.
And the minister, he said there are persons who will be taken before the courts. I have no fear to say that there are persons involved at the various agencies. One Haitian told me they paid $300 for a labor report. Another one said he came on a boat as an illegal, and he has all the status now. He has documents to prove that he's here legally in the Bahamas, but he came here on
Came
a
here by
boat,
boat
and now
illegally.
he has already brought his family to the Bahamas. He has applied, and they've already gotten documents. And I saw these things with my eyes. I saw the documents.
What else did they
So
say?
we're
This,
when the director said Bahamians are their worst enemy. Yeah,
complicit. Mm-hmm.
we are selling our birthright,
Mm-hmm.
like you say, for a bowl of
For a
porridge,
bowl of porridge.
and they're doing it at the highest level. So this problem, it goes deep, and you will be surprised who's financing it. You know, remember just the other day when those 21 Haitians drowned? That was a major operation. That was a major operation. You know, they pay thousands of dollars to come here to the Bahamas. And you talking about a shanty town and only 52 persons you find illegal
Come
there?
on, man.
Only
Come on.
52? But you know, I felt as though that was like a slap in the face.
Honestly, that's why I said,
felt as though that press conference, you know, I respect the minister Keith Bell, because I know Keith Bell when we used to walk the streets and thing back when he was a police officer and working in forensic lab and thing, and I applaud him, you know, but let's be real about it. That was an insult to the media, to the country, because we've been asking those questions at those briefings. We've seen the video. Even with Vaughn Miller, when they had the press briefing, we've expressed the environmental concerns. We've seen people go out there and videotape what was going on. You trying to tell me because immigration decided they will come and announce the magnitude of that problem yesterday? Like, should we act surprised? No.
I honestly believe, and I could be wrong, and if I am, you all please forgive me, because you know I am human. I always right. I don't know everything. But I honestly believe that had it not been for all of this national attention, all of this light that's
Yes.
now being shed on this,
It would have gone by unnoticed.
they still wouldn't be doing anything about it. So now you gotta be seen to be doing something.
Yes.
So let's now they say they put more boots on the ground.
So what?
But how
It's
did
that-
you allow this to get to the point where what was 50 acres
Now 200
is
plus.
now more than 200 acres?
Yeah, more than
When people have been sounding the
The
alarm for months,
ages. And nothing has been done.
nothing done. And
Now
now
you come
all of a
with 52
sudden
persons.
that people are shedding light on this, all of a sudden now you want, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad something happening, finally, but is this just a show?
I personally feel as though I didn't feel the seriousness. I felt as though it was just an announcement. To sort of butter the bread, to put sugar coated, to say, so many people have been sounding the alarm. Let's show them that yes, we're doing something about it.
Mhm.
No, nothing. Until we see some really drastic measures taken, then I will be convinced. But I wasn't convinced. Seriously, I was not convinced. To me, it was just an announcement. And there was nothing, because I personally suggested to, why is it that if this was a joint initiative,
Mhm.
Operation Expedition,
Mhm.
if this was a joint initiative, you knew what was going on. And they said, see the release here, they said based on reports and coming out of the island over the period of time.
Mhm.
And there were some questions that needed answering. the police and the defense force, because if you're saying that we've seen an increase in illegal immigrants to the country, that's a defense force issue.
So why was nobody there from the
Why
defense
wasn't
force?
I asked, or why wasn't someone there from the defense force? If you're saying that there are challenges in the community, persons hiding, what happened to those persons who were in breach of the law? Who you harboring is a crime.
Yeah, how many of them were rounded up to be brought before the
You
courts?
didn't, they couldn't answer a lot of questions that were put to them because it was only immigration represented, and that was far beyond immigration. We needed to know. I'm like, well, what about the environmental impact? We're tapping into the water table when you have Haitians in over 200 and plus acres of land with
Without
no
sanitation. Mhm.
You're talking about the water table. My God. Vaughan Miller should have been there, or a representative from environmental health. Ministry of Health should have been there. That was a major undertaking that the Bahamian people all have a right to know. But it was only immigration making an announcement of arresting 52 persons, over 200 plus, and that's just the farm. That's just the farm.
You said to say what?
The other one is another extension of the farm in Marsh Harbor. Marsh Harbor is the capital of Abaco, right? How is it? And that is where all of the government agencies are. And you're trying to tell me you pass that every day, and the economy is right off the highway. And you're telling me that the immigration officers are down there, customs are down there, police down there, and nobody noticed or said anything to say, look, we have hundreds of houses under construction. Nobody came to housing. I think they have the island administrator deals with all the processing of documents, right?
Mhm.
Shouldn't they have noticed 200 plus or 100 acres of land is being constructed on, and nobody came to me, to my office, to apply for a permit, inspection, or nothing. So you think this is just worthy of 252 persons being arrested, or that's just an what do you call it? An announcement?
It's just, we got to put on a show. And again, I'm happy that he's trying to put on a show, but you got to do more than that.
You got
That's
to
the
do
point we're
more
trying
than
to
that
make.
because I've been listening to everybody. I've listened to, and I follow social media, and I listen to what people are saying, and they have me labeled as the advocate when we go for briefing, but that's okay. I believe in speaking for the people, because when we go on air and the news and things, we represent the people.
Absolutely.
We have to carry their stories and hear what they're saying,
Mhm.
so we can relate to the wider public.
Right.
And when we go to briefing and we ask these questions and so forth, and many times it's like, oh, we're looking into it, and I may be thrown out of briefing, moving forward. But the reality of it is that, and I said to Clint, there are questions that you can't answer for the people. We have access to the cabinet ministers on Tuesdays to put questions to them. But if this question, and I have some serious questions to ask, that need answering,
Mhm.
because my concern is environmental. Because Michelle, if you had seen the video, and I know that the other media were there, the video, the television stations, and they were able to record the video, and I'm hoping that they would have shared that with the public, but they were saying that much of that is for security reasons, that we could not get copies of it.
Mm.
And I was hoping that I could have gotten a copy for us to share on our
Yeah.
social media platform, but for security reasons, but you had Lincoln Bay, and you had many persons take the drones up. Global has a drone. You can just take a drone and you can see the area, but they went deep in. And you should have seen when they went on those vessels and you're pulling human illegals. Government should have seized those vessels. To what extent was this operation successful? But they couldn't answer a lot of questions. You should have more than 52 persons going before the courts.
You want to know too much. That's the problem. You want to know too
Yeah,
much.
there were some questions.
You're supposed to just
couldn't
go
be
there and
answered. And,
regurgitate
you know,
whatever is said.
And I know I was listening to your show the other day, and I think it was Granby. I would say we don't go below the surface. We don't ask some of the questions,
Yeah.
but we do. And
that
we're
didn't apply to everybody.
no, and we're in a different culture that you are fed. You follow me? You're fed, and when you ask the questions, you don't get that straight answer.
You become an irritation.
Yes, you become an irritation, or you have an agenda.
See, me and you, Shelley, we come from old school.
Yeah, you have an agenda, and it becomes frustrating, but you press on, and you try to take it from a different angle. I went and I spoke directly with the Haitians, and I got some answers.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, you want to know what is happening, what government is doing. Are they going to just put more immigration officers on the island? Are they going to go to court and say, do something? Because earlier in the year, the DRA had announced that there were going to be a demolition of shanty towns.
Mm-hmm.
But where is that at? They couldn't even say. They started an operation in the Carmichael Road area when they had that major issue with Lincoln Knowles, and he was confronted with the officers, and that was the first and the last operation we heard. When we asked for an update, there were lots of questions they couldn't answer.
Shelley, we can take a quick break. I am going to try to upload this this video with the news report from the press conference yesterday.
Okay.
I say try because this thing is freezing on me. But let's go to a commercial break. And then hopefully on the other side of the break, I'll be able to upload that. So Jason, I need you to take us to a break, please, while I try to upload this video. Stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rim, fix, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here at the desk along with Shelley Lewis from our news department. We're talking for the first half of the show about the press conference that was held yesterday by the Department of by the Ministry of Labor and Immigration with Minister Keith Bell and representatives from the Department of Immigration, talking about the proliferation of shantytown growth in Abaco. What started off as 50 acres a couple of weeks back has exploded to over 200 acres now, and with evidence of continued growth being planned, because you could see all of the foundations laid for where they intend to keep building. And Shelley Lewis was at that press conference yesterday and is here to keep us abreast of what took place. Shelley, you got some stats in front of you?
Yeah, Michelle, I was going over this, and what was interesting was that the government has already spent just over $2 million in repatriation for the year so far.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got the stats. We have illegals coming from a number of countries, but Haiti seemed to be the largest. We've had close to 2,000 already for the year.
From Haiti alone.
Yes. And you know, and according to the director, that is the most expensive, because to repatriate one Haitian is over $300+, and that's just the airfare. That doesn't include accommodation or food or anything else, incidentals, because you know the protocols of entering countries, you come from one country to the next, and you don't want to take a sick individual into that country. So it's incumbent on the government to ensure that everyone meets those health protocols.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and because especially when we were in the midst of the pandemic, we had to go through that. The officers had to go through that safety protocol, because when they would send us to release, they would say everyone was checked and met safety guide protocols in order to be deported. And all of that is adding to the expense of the government. You know, $2 million is a lot of money. And, you know, we're in the midst of hard times. You know, cost of living is rising and so forth. And we're seeing this. And, you know, the director said we will continue to see the influx of illegals, they call them irregulars, into the country because of what we're seeing happening in Haiti, and now we're seeing what's happening in Turks and Caicos, and you know they have also invested some $200 million in vessels to help. Yeah, $200 million invested in vessel, and this is a part of the program that you know the government is spending monies. We're spending a lot of money in this illegal immigration problem, but nobody seemed to be addressing the root of it, because to say that we can expect, the waters are vast. To say that we can expect to see more influx of illegals, but it's all understandable. But to see them come and construct houses, a whole shanty town, not just one, but two major shanty towns right under the noses of our agencies that are on Abaco, and to say that the only solution is you're going to send more officers in to do what?
But the officers there ain't doing now.
But they're not doing now. And the thing is, Abaco was open for the world to see. We all saw what was going on. But to say Abaconians can expect to see more officers on the ground.
You think we're being too harsh on the authorities? You think that they finally
But who else do we
looking like they're trying to do something? You think
but
we're
who
being
else
too
do we
harsh?
hold responsible? Who else is responsible for these such matters? Could you imagine Bahamians taking it into to their own hands? And one of the questions that was asked was that, do you see a correlation between what's happening? Do you see, we can identify last week when the commissioner was interviewed concerning the deployment of those officers to Turks and Caicos, and his reasoning was that there is a correlation between what's happening. There is a trend going on in Turks and Caicos with regards to the warring between the gangs, and it's similar to what's happening here. So yeah, that's a reasonable explanation, right? But do we see what's happening with crime and these shanty towns? They found more than just, remember?
Found guns, they found drugs. Yeah.
Drugs. And we're seeing the reports every day. Abaco is now second to New Providence. Abaco is seeing some very serious crimes, and when we, nobody was there to answer.
Okay, the report is finally up, so we're going to go ahead and play this clip from the news conference yesterday.
I want to assure the Abaconians and the Bahamian people that there will be an increased presence from this point going forward in the Abacos and certainly in other areas non-stop until we get this, but we can allow it to continue to grow. I think you're completely right. You're going to see an increased presence, and we're going to ensure that those persons who are undocumented are taken into custody. There will be due process, and there will be swift repatriation.
That's Immigration and Labor Minister Keith Bell promising to beef up the presence of immigration officers all over the Bahamas, but particularly on the island of Abaco. Director of Immigration Katira Ferguson revealing that a shanty town on the island of Abaco known as The Farm has gone from 50 acres to some 200 acres in size since the passage of Hurricane Dorian. She attributes this to the destruction of another shanty town called The Mud that was wiped out during Hurricane Dorian. Immigration officials explain some of the issues they have in the Abaco district.
We have a higher number of persons from the Creole community with Creole backgrounds. So we have a number of Bahamians, for example, who have direct descendants. Added to that, we have a high volume of persons who are in possession of work permits and other permits, such as resident spouse. Challenges for detection of illegal migrants. It's not simply going to a particular door and saying that there are illegal migrants in there. There's a number of integration. We have Bahamians who may be next door or in the same house as a work permit holder, and we may also have illegal migrants residing as well.
They're also reminding Bahamians that it is illegal to hide those without legal standing in their homes and express how difficult it makes their jobs when illegal migrants have the help of Bahamians.
But we can only be as good as the persons in the society. Bahamians tend to complain and let you know, oh, we have a bunch of irregular migrants, but when immigration hits the ground, they are the same persons that would hide the individuals.
Some vessels would have found some trapdoors beneath where persons were pulled from. We had houses where they had trapdoors beneath where we pulled persons from. We also had individuals who are Bahamian citizens. We entered their home, and we want to stress that you can be charged for harboring illegal persons. They would hide them in their closets. They would hide them in their cupboards, the cabinets. And so we saw this as a challenge, and we're just requesting that, Bahamian citizens be more in common with the fact that they need to assist us in battling this illegal migration problem.
According to the government's 2022-2023 fiscal budget, some $1.8 million was allocated for repatriations. However, since January of this year to October 2nd, over $2.2 million have been spent on the repatriation of 2,804 illegal immigrants.
All right. So that that pretty much outlines some of the highlights of what was said at the press conference yesterday. For those of you tuning in late, we are off air on radio. I'm not sure what the problem is, but we are off air on radio. We are on air, as you know, those of you watching on Facebook and YouTube. So please like and share the show. Let everybody know that GPS is in fact on the air. Some of y'all on Facebook saying the imaginary friends knock us off the air again. So I don't know. Y'all like conspiracy. Maybe y'all right on this one because we keep getting knocked off the air for one reason or the next. I don't know. Y'all making me start to wonder. Telephone numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show. 326 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line for WhatsApp text messages only is 801-0271, 801-0271. So getting back to that press conference yesterday, you heard it in the report when the gentleman said it ain't a matter of just going to the people's door. Because, there's a mixture of people in there. I don't buy that foolishness because, like I said before, if I commit a crime and you have good reason to suspect that I have committed a crime, when you go to the judge and you get that warrant and you come to my door, you don't take into consideration that my innocent Grammy in the house, she ain't got nothing to do with the crime. You don't take into consideration that my innocent mother in the house, they both have a right to be here. You come with your warrant and you search the house.
And you do what you have to do.
You do what you got to do
And you
to
have the
find
law.
whatever evidence you feel you need to find to justify that you suspect that I committed this crime. So why we acting all brand new?
And Michelle, if you notice when police officers go into homes, say for instance, you're in a house and the police officer come there, even if they have a warrant to search, and there are drugs or firearms found in that house, it's my understanding that everyone in that house will be taken into custody until the rightful person claim ownership of whatever was found in that house. So how is it different from dealing with this situation?
Bottom line is this, Shelley. You know it. I know it. Everybody else listening to this show knows it. And, we can just call it what it is. Love me, hate me, or in between. I ain't a budge. I too old for that foolishness. I just call a spade a spade. Clearly, there are some very wealthy, influential people who are complicit in this operation. You could afford to talk about we need Bahamians to help us out and don't be hiding. What y'all saying anything to these rich people who benefiting from these people being in this country?
You should have seen some of the vessels that they were searching for these illegals.
What do you mean? The nice vessels that? What do you mean?
The nice vessels.
So they ain't just rickety boats
They
anymore.
weren't just regular fishing boats. That meant if you're some person with means and you have a Haitian under you or working for you, you have secret compartments that you can hide them when immigration comes around. And it was startling. It was to see what was really going on in Abaco.
And just for the record, this isn't just happening in Abaco.
No,
there are other islands as well that are being overrun.
it's growing in Andros, I'm told.
Yes, and Eleuthera.
Yeah.
Eleuthera has a challenge as well. And I'm hearing Spanish Wells has their own shantytown community. I don't know if that is 100%
Remember,
correct.
I think several years ago, they tried to burn them out when they set it afire.
Okay, so we could have these conversations from now till Jesus come back, right?
Soon come.
Praise the Lord. But in the meantime,
What do we do?
what do we do? If you have wealthy people benefiting from this, because that is their cheap labor, that's their labor force, that's their slave labor. Okay? If you got powerful people sitting in position benefiting from this, if you have Bahamians sitting in position in these departments benefiting from this, if you have the human trafficker getting thousands of dollars per head benefiting from this, how will you stop this?
How?
What do you think we need to do, Shelley? Because this ain't making no sense.
Be honest, Michelle. When I came from that press conference, I was asking the same questions. What is it going to take to stop this? And this is an age-old problem. This has been going on for years, and it's getting worse now. You know, you're seeing it really expanding here in the Bahamas, on the islands especially. And we've been asking the question, how do we stop it? Because, you know, and I was quite frank, some of the very persons, like you mentioned, it's at a very high level, and it has political means as well. You know, I see it as beneficial to the criminals who, like you mentioned, the persons who doing it illegally. How many Haitians are naturalized? They have a naturalization program every week at immigration. They can't tell us the numbers.
How you could not be able to? Well, Shelley, you making me vexed, man.
Yeah, I get vexed too.
You like to say, well, you yucking up my vexation right now.
And how in depth is the investigation? And they say, oh, then one part here they said they're still investigating some persons who claim to have been born in the Bahamas. Okay, if you've been born in the Bahamas, these obviously when they reach 18, they didn't apply for naturalization. There were some persons they found during this operation who claimed to have been born in the Bahamas. So now they're saying there needs to be some system implemented to be able to, you know, to deal with this, because they're having challenges. The system is not properly set up, you know, and you go from one reason to the next as to why not, why they can't do certain things.
In 2022.
In 2022, and this is an age-old problem.
Okay, so here I'm going to play one clip from, is that a call for the show? Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, Michelle, how you doing?
Hi, right, yeah, man, how you?
Hey, listen, you think you back?
Take a number.
Making me back. What kind of thing is this going on in this country?
Boy, look here, you can't make this up.
We are just a bunch of dishonest people.
Can't make it up.
Huh?
You can't make this up.
Listen, let me tell you. See, that's what God is giving you. God is giving you a government of the people. Does he know we're a bunch of liars, thieves, and dishonest people? Right? So he gave us a government that way. Because, like, how in the world you could just pick up 58 people or 53 people? That makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, I know to tell you, son. I know. Maybe they got tipped off that immigration was on the ground and everybody running the bush and hide. I know.
The immigration rate is exactly where they are. But again, if you look at it, because I know, who do you call when you see there's illegal activity going on with illegal migrants?
I don't think it makes a difference, because Kai been calling. He been reporting.
Because I know to the corner where I live, I mean, you see all kinds of different people every day. Wow. Right? So I want to know, who do you call to report something like this? Or you just say, well, okay, so you're here and say, well, I can't do nothing with that.
Serious thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, listen, this is frustrating. You know, I can't let people stress out, because you feel like people in the soul, they know what's going on and trying to make us, I guess, needs to come again. Needs to come. That's what it is.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thank you, Mr.
Here's what Prime Minister Davis had to say during his national address. There are two different clips. This one is talking specifically about immigration, and then there's another one that I'm going to play a little later on, talking about the migrant border controls question. But let's hear what the Prime Minister had to say with regard to our immigration crisis.
On another front, I want to share with you some of the ways we are moving to fortify and protect our borders. We are recruiting hundreds of new Defense Force and immigration officers. We're investing $6 million in new Defense Force vessels. We are strengthening our partnerships that amplify our ability to patrol our waters. We established a new maritime surveillance system and commissioned a new coastal radar out of Defense Force's Coral Harbor Base. And we will commission additional satellite radar systems in locations throughout the Bahamas, including Ragged Island, Andros, Eleuthera, and Exuma.
Shelley, does that give you any hope?
Well, you can put as many officers out there, and if the operation is still going on, I mean, a slight hope, but you got to do take some draconian measures to really get below the surface of what's going on. Michelle, you know, what bothers me is how it was allowed to happen to get to that stage, to expand from 50 to 200 plus. They had the officers. Keith Bell said there was no shortage of officers. We asked, was there a concern for manpower? He said no, there was no shortage of officers. We now manning the seas, patrolling the waters, and their reasoning, we have vast waters.
But Shelley, we only have vast waters after you pass our southernmost island, Inagua.
Right. And
the space between Haiti
and
Inagua ain't that big.
No.
So
they coming.
You could only use that vast water argument past Inagua. So why aren't we putting more emphasis on guarding that passageway from Haiti to Inagua?
And here it says there is a joint initiative between the United States, Turks and Caicos, and the Bahamas in terms of patrolling our waters.
All right, here, obviously there's some external forces as well that are putting pressure, trying to get us to buy into this or sign on to this
border.
This, where you open up your borders situation. According to the Prime Minister, he did not sign off. The Bahamas did not sign off on it, but other nations, like the United States, did. So if the United States signed off on it, and they got to pass us to get to the United States,
let them continue on. Because the Bahamas is always a drop-off point for processing, and that's expensive, because once it even turned over from the Coast Guard, Bahamian officials, see the prices? No, it wasn't $300; it's $400 per Haitian to send them back to Haiti. So do the math. When you get a boatload of 300 or plus in just one repatriation.
All right, here, real quick is what the Prime Minister had to say with regard to this call from the international community to absorb more immigrants. I'll go ahead and play that clip.
Last June, I attended the Summit of Americas, where regional migration was one of the items on the agenda. During the summit, countries were asked to sign a declaration on migration, which included language suggesting that countries support and host undocumented migrants. We did not sign this declaration. 20 countries signed the declaration, including Argentina, Barbados, Chile, Jamaica, and the United States. Let me repeat, the Bahamas is not a signatory to this agreement. I made it very clear to President Biden and to other leaders that our country does not have the resources to bear this burden. We need to devote Bahamian resources to solving Bahamian problems. There's no question that worsening instability in our region is a national security problem for the Bahamas. That is why we are increasing patrols of known passageways for human trafficking. And that is why we are increasing the use of technology to detect undocumented vessels and directing more manpower in our southern islands to intercept them before they venture deeper into our territory. These measures make an important difference, but our sea borders span thousands of miles. We need the United Nations to step up and do more to stop human smuggling at the source. A message must also be disseminated on the ground there, warning people not to make the dangerous journey, warning them not to risk their lives to be turned around again. To the extent that CARICOM can make headway on the ground where these very serious and tragic humanitarian crises are unfolding, that would only benefit our country. The Bahamas will be part of a multi-country regional effort to address the emergency there. But what we will not do, what we cannot do, is absorb the problems of other countries here.
All right, that was our Prime Minister Davis during his national address a couple of nights ago. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
I listened to the part where I heard Jamaica,
Mhm.
right? Yes.
Last June, I attended.
Hey, that was my mistake. Go ahead.
The sign on to that agreement. Jamaica was one of the Caribbean countries that did. We are already in the midst of a crisis.
Mhm.
To me, I mean, many people can say it's a crisis. Bell tended, if I asked if he was prepared to retract his statement, he
Mhm.
said no, no. But
He said no?
He said no because he related different reasons as to why he wouldn't retract it, because a crisis is something that they deal with when it happens and so forth and so forth. But anyhow, what the Prime Minister is saying is all good and dandy and everything, the investments that they're making, it's good. But at the end of the day, Michelle, what are we doing to deal with the problem at hand? I mean, what is being done to deal with it? Because they were saying a lot of things from early in the year. We were going to briefings and asking the questions. And yeah, it's a lot of things that was said during that national address. A lot of promises made.
Mhm.
A lot of promises made. A lot of promises made.
Mhm.
But how realistic are they in terms of implementing them? In terms of the country where it's at now, being able to afford a lot of these things to combat this problem. If Jamaica is opening their borders to these undocumented, come on, how many people in Haiti? If Jamaica is opening their
11 million and something.
maybe we should be talking with the government. Should be talking with Jamaica, right?
But they ain't want to go to Jamaica.
No,
They ain't want to go to Jamaica. Because if they wanted to go to Jamaica, they could have gone to Jamaica.
So what does Argentina and what else? Several other countries.
He said Barbados as well.
Yeah. How do they what do they have to do with this Haitian problem that's affecting the Bahamas?
Well, I don't know what to say, Shelley. I know you only say you can give me 1 hour today, and the hour is now up. So I know you got things
I
to
got
do.
to go,
But and I appreciate you being here. Is that a call for the show? No. Yeah, I really appreciate you being here today to help shed some light on this. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's just so disheartening to watch this continue to go the direction in which it's going, and administration after administration after administration doesn't seem to have the will to really do what needs to be done to fix this problem. Because I want to see some Bahamians who harbor illegals go before the courts.
Well, you remember
I want to see some people go before the courts for building without a permit. I want to see some people who some business owners who granted work permits for people, and these people doing other things. I want to see all of them answer for this.
But Michelle, before I go,
Yeah.
it was mentioned that they collected over $50,000 in outstanding payments for work permits during that 3-day operation. $50,000.
Who they collect that from? The business owners?
They didn't say they didn't. It's very, everything is very guarded. They said they collected $50,000 to off, and this went against to offset some of the expenses. We are expecting to collect about $50,000. They collected $45,000, pardon me, during that exercise. And these are outstanding work permits. And what they're also finding is that if a business or a person bring in a person on a work permit in New Providence, they find that person, the Haitian, I'm going to say, they have brought in, is now on Abaco, living in that shanty town and working, but they're not the person who brought them in on that work permit.
Ain't facing no kind of, they ain't answering
Exactly.
nothing.
And then they're finding persons with your name, your documents representing you, and all of these things are going on.
What do you mean by that?
They found Haitians in possession of document belonging to other persons other than themselves.
Say what?
Yeah.
Living people?
Yes. Because there was one case where a Haitian was in possession of a document that belonged to a Bahamian living in Freeport.
Mom, don't do it, Shelley.
So there's a lot going on, and like he said, they're expecting persons to be taken before the courts, and it's a wait and see. And Michelle, like he said, it's going to take persons like us. I don't know how much power, but we'll be dealing with some very serious matters and people in tough places. So it was certainly a pleasure joining you today.
I appreciate you coming.
And this is something that we will continue to follow, the news and the paradigm shift and global impact. And as the information become available, we'll be more than happy to share it with you.
All right. Thanks for the good work you're doing, Shelley.
Thank you, too, for having me.
All right, guys, we're going to, boy, I tell you, we're going to take a commercial break. On the other side of the break, we'll hear more from the Prime Minister's national address, unless y'all want to continue this conversation about this illegal immigration problem. That would mean that you need to call. The telephone numbers to call, but then I forget we down on radio. Hey, we still off air on radio? Huh? Power's off in the east? Power's off in the east. Okay. So that means we still off the air on radio. So, wow. The only persons then who could call are those who are watching either on Facebook or from Grand Bahama or YouTube. Anyway, the telephone numbers to call if you so desire, 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line for text messages only, 801-0271, 801-0271. Stay with us. Let's see if that's a caller for the show first. Because if it is, we might as well take them instead of them holding on. No? All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue with the GPS on Global 99.5 FM.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, pinch, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company on this Thursday, where we are, for the first half of the show, we looked at the press conference that was held yesterday by the Ministry of Labor and Immigration. Some of the startling things that they revealed during that press conference, and talking about their plans going forward. And, let me just say for the record that, just like the police, if you have an operation that is sensitive, information that is sensitive to an operation, I don't expect you to share everything, because then you'd be telling the criminals what the plan is, and that would be counterproductive. So I understand if there's some things that you cannot share because you don't want to give the target that you're going after a heads up as to what you're planning on doing. So that I understand. But Shelley has a very valid point in that if you're talking about a multi-agency operation, then there should have been persons from those other agencies who would have been able to answer questions that one agency that was represented couldn't answer. And you wonder why that was not the case, why we didn't have representatives there from the Defense Force or the Police Force, etc. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hello.
Hi.
Good day, Michelle. Yeah, I was only calling to let you know that you are on air.
Okay, we're back on radio?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
and I have one thing to say about the immigration situation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed and not amused or amazed at all. But it's amazing how much these illegal immigrants are causing us with their presence in the Bahamas. And then it's amazing to know how much they cost us to send them home. And I think if you have an embassy, that's kind of like the neutral grounds for kind of policy making and and all this stuff. And I don't understand why the Bahamas is playing like some kind of the greatest good Samaritan in the world and go into all these debts and stuff to accommodate the situation, because if they say they spend over $2 million or something like that dollars, and it's $350 for a Haitian immigrant to go back, and $310 or $5 for a Cuban immigrant to go back, why can't these governments would have these people fleeing their land be responsible in some way for paying for some of this debt? Because I don't hear Cuba in such great debt with all kind of banks and stuff. I don't hear Haiti owing all sorts of people, but all we doing is just owing and staying in debt because of these situations.
Well, I mean, Haiti is known to be the most impoverished nation in this region. I mean, they're not, they're not a wealthy country per se. They have a lot of wealthy individuals in the country.
And they are a wealthy country too, because Haiti had all the gold, Haiti had all this stuff. It's just that the people, like somebody said on a previous show, actually it was Juan McCartney, who said that they had intelligent, educated people making poor, bad decisions for them, selling out to the wealthiest and richest of the nation. And so now this is the improvement they're going through, but at the same time, we are actually kind of poor too. To have minimum wage at $2.10 and people kind of with mixed emotions with a only raise of $50, making it $2.60. When as you have rent in some of these shacks, like my rent is almost about $700, and I ain't got no AC. This ain't no place to say you want. There's no family in or nothing, but that's almost that's enough for to almost be renting a 2-bedroom apartment.
You need to go building on Shantytown, man. Then you'll be living rent free. Well, maybe not, because I understand now that some of the residents of the shanty towns have built facilities where people renting from them in the shanty town.
Yes, for sure, of course, with no permits, no nothing. But when I went to try and build, I actually did. They told me I didn't have the right color passport.
What's supposed to mean?
I was in the nationality that was accepted to build on Crown land in the Bahamas from a British colony.
Wow.
Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that you are on the radio and your voice is touching air nationwide.
Good to know. Thank you so much for calling.
All right. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I'm trying. So speaking of minimum wage, this is what Prime Minister Davis had to say during his national address. Everybody's been talking about this minimum wage increase, whether, $260 is enough. Let me just play the clip, and then we're going to talk about that a bit. Here's what the Prime Minister had to say in his national address.
During an inflation emergency, it's important to take the steps we can to improve affordability. Of course, nothing is more important to helping families make ends meet than higher wages. The last time the minimum wage was raised in our country was 2015. A new increase has been long overdue. Tonight, I'm announcing that the country's new minimum wage will be $260 a week. For minimum wage earners in the public service, the change will be retroactive going back to July of this year. For minimum wage earners in the private sector, the increase will begin in a little less than 3 months, in January of the coming year, allowing employers time to prepare for the increased expense. The higher minimum wage will benefit tens of thousands of Bahamians. Will the increase help? Yes, it will. It was long awaited, long overdue, and the extra money every week will make a difference. However, we are aware that this will not eliminate the hardship of trying to make ends meet in today's economy. Instead, it represents progress on the way to a livable wage. The raise was negotiated by the National Tripartite Council, which includes the government and representatives from the private sector and unions. Our shared goal was to raise the minimum wage without having a negative impact on employment or job growth, and we believe that has been achieved.
Okay, so let's look at the history of minimum wage as we know it. I think under Pinling, it used to be $90. And then I believe Ingram raised it to $150. And then Christie raised it to $210. And now Davis is raising it to $260 per week. I think that's the record of minimum wage. Now, let me just say that back in Pinling's day, $90 went a lot further than $90 goes today. Because of inflation, the value of the dollar is not as strong as it was back in the day. So you could be making $260 now, but getting less than you would have gotten with $90. That's just the way of inflation, right? But at least it's heading in the right direction. Is it enough? Probably not. But at least it's heading in the right direction. Now, members of the opposition current are complaining that it's not enough. Well, my question to them is, why didn't you raise it when y'all were last in power? Because the last Free National Movement administration to raise minimum wage was under Ingram. So why didn't y'all do something about this problem when y'all were in power last? See, it ain't enough to come here now trying to make brownie points, political brownie points, and talk about, oh, that's not enough, and you ain't do nothing to raise it. Sit small. Sit small. At least it's heading in the right direction. Is it enough? Probably not. Will we get to the point where we have a livable wage? I do hope so, because God knows we need it. But if you ain't do nothing to address the problem when you had the opportunity, don't come here now talking about it ain't enough, because it's more than what you did. I just saying. Now, that being said, I think we need to help people to understand that when you want to be making huge sums of money, you have to be offering a service that requires the payment of huge sums of money. If you are doing something that I could pick anybody up off the street to do, you shouldn't expect to be paid as much as someone who took the time to learn a trade or specialize in something that makes their contribution more valuable. We have a lot of people, and I just being honest, who want a job, but they don't want to work. There's a big difference between the two. They want jobs to get paid, but they don't want to work. I remember when I was working in Bimini, one of the things that the resort used to do where I work is my responsibility was communications with the community. And we, in many ways, partnered with the local community. So we adopted the schools, the local government schools, and we did a lot of work in the community. And I do recall at one of the outreaches where our HR department went into the schools to try to identify young persons who might be interested in a career in hospitality, to give them an opportunity to get their foot in the door, to start working at the resort at entry level. And they were told point blank by many of the young people, man, I ain't into that. I ain't working hard. I ain't into that. Now, these were young people who didn't have a job. But their attitude was, I ain't working hard. I ain't working in no sun. I want the money, but I ain't all of that. I rather sit on the blocks. So we have a whole bunch of people out there who, and again, I'm not opposing minimum wage because, quite frankly, inflation warrants that you have to move with the times. We can't expect people to be able to live off of, what they are living off of now, when the cost of living continues to go up. Because, like I say, $260 a day probably won't get you as much as $90 got you in Pinling State. The dollar just don't stretch that far anymore. But at the same time, people, you gotta take some time to make sure you got some kind of skill. I've been listening to the news and I've been hearing some people that they interview on the news, the members of the public, talking about, it should be $350 a week. Oh, it should be $380 a week. Okay. So what skills are you bringing to the table to warrant you being paid $380 a week? And if you're bringing skills to the table, I ain't got a problem with you being paid that. But let's call a spade. Now, let's be honest. We got a lot of people who want jobs but don't want to work. And they think that they're supposed to be paid big sums of money just for showing up. And that is not reality. That ain't how this thing go. Another thing you need to ask is, many of the small businesses right now, and as somebody who used to own a small business, I know how rough it could be. When you're trying to meet payroll and pay rent and pay light bill, because sometimes my light bill used to be more than my rent. Will we now see where people are going to be laid off or small businesses negatively impacted because they can't keep up? These are questions we need to ask. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yeah, pardon Michelle. I never called a show twice in my life. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was clear because I give Brave Davis and the PLP organization kudos for at least raising it like he say for now until it can do better. For one, and I want to piggyback on what you were saying about earning what you want to make. And even though he said he's making minimum wage at $260, I think like you say, the workers or the staff of these private entities and government entities are the lowest rate or are the lowest level of staffing need to improve their quality of service in the Bahamas, because service sucks in the Bahamas, and especially as a Nassauian, I could say in Nassau, here that I have traveled a numerous amount of places, and in Nassau, service sucks. And so, like you say, people need to, even though it's at $260 now, I hope that make people have a better morale when they go to work, because they need to improve the service too if they want the money to keep improving.
Right. Makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Thank you
sorry
so much.
for calling twice.
No, man. Listen, the show is only the show when y'all call in. I need your participation. Telephone numbers to call. Thank you so much for calling, though. The numbers to call: 3260271, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, or the WhatsApp line for text messages is 8010271, 8010271. Now, some may argue that instead of focusing on minimum wage, we need to change our collective mindset. We need a paradigm shift and start to get our people to think less as minimum wage earners and more as maximum wage earners. In other words, start thinking more in terms of ownership or creating your own opportunities, so that you're not just reliant on being at the bottom of the barrel. Because quite frankly, business people are in business to make money. They ain't in the business because they want to contribute to society and have a bleeding heart and feel for you who need a job. No, every business person go into business because they want to make money. Bottom line. And if they aren't making money, they're going to make some decisions to cut costs. That's just the way it is. And unfortunately, one of the first things they're going to cut is salaries. I remember back in the day when Norman Solomon was alive, the late Norman Solomon. Those of you who don't know who he is, y'all youngins, go look him up. Norman Solomon was a businessman here in the country who owned several successful businesses. And I remember him being interviewed on the news one time, and somebody asked him the question, because this has been a conversation that's been going on since then. And somebody asked him the question, do you think it's fair that you should be paying a person who has 3 children to feed the minimum wage? And Norman Solomon said, dry eye, I ain't they daddy. And people jump all over. Oh, he shouldn't have said that. Oh, he called out, yada, yada. But he was telling the truth. It ain't his responsibility as a business owner to feed your children. That's your responsibility. It's his responsibility, as far as he's concerned, as a businessman, to earn a profit. That's why people go into business. So before you decide to have 8 children, and then complain that $260 ain't enough to feed you and your 8 children, maybe you should have thought about that before you had 8. I call a spade today, y'all. I ain't budget today. We got a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Michelle, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What you just said just now, facts. I think it's a good thing. It was better than verse before, and it's better than nothing. And the complaints, and I saw the news and I heard the people are, some spend as far as they think they should get $500 a week. Which,
they live in La La Land if they believe that's sustainable.
You understand, and these things. But my thing is, you have to. It's a dog eat dog world out there. Competition is high. When you go on these jobs at entry level, you always go on human resources or speak to your manager and ask them, show interest in the business and let them know that you want to enhance your qualifications, learn some skills that can elevate you. That's elevating your salary and your benefits. You don't expect to go on a job entry level at minimum wage, right? And expect to just say 5, 10, 20, because you have a lot of people in the government system where they can go and qualify themselves more. Because I know a lot of the government departments, the government they work with you when you want to go to school. You understand? Sometimes they even allow you to go 1 or 2 days during your day shift. They work with you. So find out, go and find out, the areas where you can make more than you don't have to be dependent on the minimum wage every 20 years or 15 years increasing. You could be making double, triple that sometimes.
I agree.
But that's not what I really called you for, Michelle. What I called you for, I don't know if I can speak on it. I saw a feature on the news last night where they were, a story I should say, where you have young men I think it's about a handful, have filed a complaint about this manager.
Save that for tomorrow. Tomorrow's open line.
Okay.
Yeah, we ain't talking about that today. All right.
But the Shantytown situation, how long has that been going on with that big spread they have over in Abaco?
Past couple of months.
Oh, man, I think that they're supposed to happen even
that Shantytown didn't exist before Dorian.
But okay, I saw that last night, and there's some nice. It looks good. It looks good. The way they fix, and then these things. Some even have, I think, solar panels on them. How were they allowed to bring these things in Abaco?
People turn a blind eye. Bottom line, somebody had to turn a blind eye, and now they acting like They didn't know what was going on. Come on, man. Come
And
on.
then-
People
and
been
then-
complaining.
So with the injunction, when justice ruled on that the injunction or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
To allow it to happen. One day, nothing was supposed to happen on that property, right? Nothing was supposed to happen on that
The
land.
injunction stated that you couldn't demolish those properties that were already built at the time of the injunction, but it also, I believe, stated that there weren't supposed to be any new structures erected.
Right. So what I'm saying is, this is grounds for the AG office to go back to court. That is a crisis. That is an emergency.
You would think.
You know, because now it's going to be a lot of problems. But now they're going to have to go in there. When they do go, that's going to be like World War One in Abaco. You watch that. But you know, we have to be proactive instead of reactive. We have to do better.
Yeah.
As a people, remember, you have these people in authority. They have to do their job, and they had a nice press conference yesterday. But the things they were showing us, everybody was. The answer is, the question is, why? How could you all have allowed this to happen and get out of hand? It's like a cut. If you don't let that, if you don't treat that cut or whatever, that spreads and spreads and spreads. You understand? They have to do. You know, we have to do better, Michelle. We have to do better. But I'll call tomorrow to discuss that other issue.
Yeah, that's for tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow's open line.
Yeah, you take care.
All right, thanks for calling. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, I want to touch on what the Prime Minister had to say in his national address about this idea of a new Bahamian economy, because we need to, quite frankly, move away from just thinking that all we're worth is minimum wage and start thinking outside the box about what skill do I have that I can turn into an opportunity, into a business. So instead of me just relying on what the man could pay me and crying about this little minimum wage and how I can't feed my children, think. Use the gray matter between your ears to figure out what skills you do have that you could possibly turn into a business. There are others who have done that very successfully since the lockdowns from COVID. Started businesses that they had wanted to do for a long time out of desperation and now thriving. Don't want to go back to no job. We're going to talk about that and hear what the Prime Minister had to say about this idea of a new economy and financial literacy on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Less is love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. The first half of the show, we talked about this whole explosion of the shanty town in Abaco based on information provided at the press conference yesterday by the Ministry of Labor and Immigration. And then in the second half of the show, we're sort of continuing, but talking more about issues that were raised by Prime Minister Davis during his national address a couple of nights ago. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line 8010271 for text messages only, 8010271. All right, so prior to the break, we were talking about this whole question of whether or not the minimum wage is enough. Some saying it doesn't go far enough. Others are saying, thank God we're heading in the right direction. I am of the opinion that we need a paradigm shift nationally where we stop seeing ourselves as only worthy of minimum wage. And we start to use our brains and think what we can do to change our position and our status in life. I just came from a meeting prior to coming to the show. And in that meeting, they were talking about having lunch delivered to them by one of these companies that picks up lunch for you from wherever and delivers it to your door. And one of the questions that was raised is, how are they doing this efficiently with all of this traffic on the road? Like, how are they able to get stuff to you quickly? And the person said they use a lot of motorbikes. Now, prior to that service, because right now there are a couple of them, but there's one in particular that we were talking about today, and I ain't calling their name because they don't sponsor my show. So I ain't getting no free ad. But that business did not exist in a not too distant past. But some young millennial, sat down and thought, this is an idea that we could turn into a business. And now their business is exploding. What skills do you already possess that you can turn into a business? I know of a young lady who prior to the pandemic was a maid in the hotel, making minimum wage. And then the pandemic came, the hotel shut down, and she found herself in a position where she had to find some way to make some money. So she started a cleaning service, focusing only on Airbnb. When the hotel finally opened back up, She had no desire to go back there because she making 3 times the amount she was making while at the hotel, using a skill that she learned at the hotel. So instead of sitting there, allowing herself to be immersed in, I like the way Lupita Nyong'o said it during a speech she gave at Essence some years ago, the seduction of inadequacy. Instead of allowing yourself to be immersed with the seduction of inadequacy. In other words, you are so comfortable being in a position. It's easy to be in a position where you say, oh, I can't do any better because ain't nobody paying me. There's a seduction of inadequacy. It takes courage to decide to step out of that and do something more with your life. And some people don't want to some people don't want to take that route along the road of the unknown. They just want to be seduced by inadequacy. But we have to get to the point, and I was encouraged to hear what I'm going to play next, a clip from the Prime Minister's National Address, where we have a paradigm shift, where we move away from this thinking of all I am worth is minimum wage. Now, that being said, we need to have systems in place to encourage people to be able to go out and find their way as it relates to creating opportunities. Here's what the Prime Minister had to say along those lines as it relates to creating a new Bahamian economic model.
We have been talking about recovery and relief. But I want to be clear. Our goal for the Bahamian economy goes beyond recovery. The goal can't simply be to return to the way things used to be. Because, let's be honest, there's never been a time when our economy created enough opportunities for Bahamian advancement and ownership. Returning to the past economy isn't the goal. Creating a new, more inclusive economy is the goal. Many Bahamians have achieved remarkable success, but thousands more can and should join them. That's why we're expanding access to capital so small Bahamian-owned businesses can turn into big ones. That's why we are starting to work with the private sector to smash through the glass ceilings that are limiting Bahamian advancement to leadership positions. That's why we are taking steps to create a vibrant and innovative economy, because we want young Bahamians to build their lives here at home.
All right, so all that sounds really good, Mr. Prime Minister. Really, really good. And, you know, there's an old saying that a promise is a comfort to a fool. Well, we hope that this will be more than just a comfort to a fool, and that your administration will really lay out a plan to do exactly what you just said. Because I must say, watching this speech, there were some really good feeling things that were said. He said some good feeling things that make you have hope. But we need to make sure that this is more than just a good speech. And that you really will put your money where your mouth is and really set systems in place to do the things that you're saying that you're going to do. You know, there's only been 1 year. 1 year. You got 4 more to go. And while I dare say that the honeymoon period has ended and people getting a little restless now, you got 4 more to go. You were given a mandate for 5 years, not 1. So I say give you the opportunity within those 5 years to show us that you're serious about the things that you're saying. Because if you could pull off what you just said, then I think the Bahamian people would be well pleased to know that you are leading an administration that truly does care about the welfare of its people. So I just hope and pray that what was said is more than just comfort to a fool, and time will tell whether or not this is just a really nice speech, or if there will be some action put behind what the prime minister has said. Now, one of the things that he also talked about was the fact that we need to have more put into financial literacy. Because it's one thing to say, oh, we need this new Bahamian economy where Bahamians can, start businesses and come home and live and work home. But we, for the most part, have done a poor job in teaching financial literacy. So the Prime Minister also addressed that during his national address a couple of nights ago. And here's what he had to say with regard to the question of financial literacy.
Investing in Bahamians is always a smart move. That's why we're emphasizing the teaching of financial literacy and expanding access to technology. That's why during this term, we are investing more than $250 million in Bahamian-owned businesses. And that's why we are already planning for the next generation of entrepreneurs, data and market analysis, finance, business management. These skills should be taught much more widely. We have to expand our idea of who can achieve success in our society.
Sound good, Mr. PM? It sound good. Time will tell whether or not you're going to be able to deliver on these promises that you made. Because I'm a part of a lot of chats on WhatsApp and stuff, and a lot of people say, "Boy, he say he makes some big promises there, but how you gonna fulfill all of them?" Well, that's the $1 million question, eh? Multi-million-dollar question. Whether or not he will be able to accomplish all that he outlaid in his national address. Loretta says the young people will feel better and do better when the old guards move on the side and give them a chance. Man, look here. Don't give them a chance, foolishness. Go make your chance. Go make your chance. That is being seduced by inadequacy. That excuse right there. Go make your chance. Go create your opportunity. That's the point. The young lady who now is making triple or more than what she was making at the hotel didn't wait for nobody to give her no chance. She sat down. She thought about what can I do to change my circumstances, and she started with a bucket and a mop, and she went out and did what she had to do. And one Airbnb turned it to 10, turned it to 20, turned it to 30. She ain't wait for nobody to give her no chance. That's a part of our problem right there. We got to stop finding excuses for our inadequacy. Whether it's an individual or as a nation, we got to stop. You got to go make your way. Don't sit back and wait for somebody to move on the side to make room for you. No. Make your way. You got a skill. You may not even be recognizing the skill that you have as something that could be turned into a business, but you got a skill. There's something that you have. I'll give you an example, because a lot of it has to do with attitude. I remember Pastor Miles, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, telling us this story. He said there were 2 shoe salesmen that were sent by the shoe company that they were working for to go scope out India as a possible market. Both of them went on the same flight, went to the same villages, saw the same thing, and came back and were required to give their report. One of them wrote to the company This is not a good market for our company because nobody here wears shoes. So they looked at the situation from a place of negativity. This is not a good market for our company because nobody here wears shoes. The second salesperson wrote a report. This is the perfect place for us to establish an office because everybody here needs shoes. One saying, this ain't gonna wait because ain't nobody here wears shoes. Finding excuses as opposed to looking for opportunities. The next one come back and say, man, we need everybody with the office here because everybody needs shoes. So let's bring this back home. Instead of finding excuses as to why we can't do any better than minimum wage, what do you already have in your hand that you could turn into an opportunity? I can use a local example. One of my sponsors. Y'all often hear me talk about Tiki Bikini Hut on Junkanoo Beach, Byron Coley Austin. Go check them out. Good food, great atmosphere, yada, yada, yada. Byron Coley Austin started that business with $50 on a cooler full of cool drinks. He found himself out of work. He sat down and decided, I got to do something. He took $50, went and bought some drinks, put them in a cooler with some ice, and went out to the beach where people were hanging out, tourists were hanging out, and he started selling cool drinks out of a cooler. $50. Today, Tiki Bikini Hut has been featured around the world. Quite successful business, known around the world for its food, its great atmosphere, etc. Has been chosen by TripAdvisor several times, I believe, talking about this is one of the places to visit. $50 on a cooler. And today, he has a thriving business. He ain't sit back and wait for nobody to give him no chance. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS. Hello, caller.
Oh, sorry about that, Michelle. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Thank God for life.
What's up?
I just tuned in because I know you guys were off there on the radio for a while.
Yeah.
So, I just found you back on there. So, I heard you talking about the way to look at things in life. One of the things I'd like to see in the Bahamas, you've heard of or read the book Chicken Soup for the Soul by
Yes.
Mark Victor Hansen, though?
Yes.
Yeah. I would really like to see somebody write a book like that here in and for the Bahamas. Crown Salad for the Soul, for example, wherein we go out throughout this entire country and find success stories because we've got them. We've got success stories in this country where Bahamians who had nothing, quote unquote, used the little bit that they had and turned it into great, great, great opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember all of the details of the story of Barry Farrington, the late Barry Farrington.
Mm-hmm.
But the little I remember him sharing about his life story long before he died, of course, when he first started, he started from little to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
As a Bahamian, got in the hotel industry, was given an opportunity, and he became one of the top Bahamians in his day.
Right.
In the hospitality industry because he applied himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think, before we became independent, the Bahamas was full of entrepreneurs. The Bahamas was full of engineers. The Bahamas was full of Bahamians who knew how to take little and turn it into much.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since we became an independent nation, Michelle, we unfortunately started to take too much for granted.
Mm.
You remember saying by Sir Lyndon, or at least it was attributed to Sir Lyndon. I don't know whether or not he said it, but I didn't hear him say it. But it was attributed to him that he said, after we became independent, that the Bahamians no longer have to work in the field, in the farm, and go fishing. Now you can work in the bank, and et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me tell you why I was discouraged when I heard that, whether Sir Lyndon said it or not. If anybody said it, let me tell you why it was so, in my view, negative and destructive.
Mm-hmm.
When one is doing something good and honest that makes them successful, they should never stop doing it. And if one is going to change their model or their means or the method by which they're doing it, if you want to improve the way by which you do something, improve it, but never throw away the fundamentals. And, we used to feed ourselves before independence. We used to by fishing and farming. And now the Bahamas is at the place where we can barely feed ourselves for a day. Why? Because we forgot what it was to work hard for the things that we use. I can see my grandparents right now, Alpheus and Riedel Miller from Orange Creek, Cat Island, and sadly they were murdered many years ago. But when they were alive, I can see my grandparents walking many distances to their farm. Because on Cat Island, they were used to doing hard work.
Mm-hmm.
They did what it took to make happen what they needed happen. They never relied on government. They never relied on the merchant class. They relied on their God-given talent, and they collaborated with people in their neighborhoods. We used to be a very, very great nation because our attitudes were in the right place. But the Bahamas of today, I get so sad when I hear many people say, let the government do it, or that's the government job, or the government is supposed to. No. The government ain't supposed to do nothing for you and me that you and me can do for ourselves. But sadly and unfortunately, Michelle, too many of us Bahamians, seemingly and apparently, have gotten used to government doing so much for us. So individually, I blame us.
Well, the politicians got a lot to do with that too, though, because
Yes,
they want people to be dependent on them.
Yes, I was about to say, they are responsible for the psyche of dependency, the syndrome of dependency that this country, on government dependency, that the people have fallen into. And see, this is why I use that example that I would have heard in respect to Sir Lyndon. I don't know how true it is, but it was attributed to him. But any politician to have done that to a people that he or she was leading, they did their people a disservice. We are now at the point where, Michelle, I understand that Cat Island, for example.
I think I run out of time, but I think we have to take things into context when it comes to that statement, because at that time, we were not living in the same Bahamas we're living in today, where you have the opportunity to have the bank job or whatever. The Bahamians were prohibited back then.
No, I understand.
So, I think we have to take that all into context, and I understand what you're saying, that it may not, in hindsight, have been the best message, but in context of the day, in which that statement was made, I could see why the statement was made.
And I understand too why Sir Lyndon made that. Because he was encouraging Bahamians to rise up to a higher level in life,
right.
and I understand and respect that. But you still don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. If something ain't broke, something is working, don't break it.
Well, the question is, and I gotta let you go because it's a minute to 4. Gotta let you go. But the question is, was it working? It wasn't working for many Bahamians.
But Michelle, we used to be industrious.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
We'll talk on that another time.
Yeah, call me tomorrow. Tomorrow's open line.
All right.
All right, that's my time, y'all. Thanks to Shelley Lewis who joined us for the first half of the show, and all of you who called in or sent a message. I appreciate it a lot. Tomorrow's open line, so we can talk more about the Prime Minister's national address and all the other stories that have made news over the past week. tomorrow's the day to do it. I hope that you will be a part of the show. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Global 99.